We are blessed beyond measure. We are chosen by the holy and beloved to be her guardians. This sacred duty is given to us alone. Rejoice, my brethren, and prepare your hearts to receive her. Lift up your voices and despair not, for she will raise her faithful servants to glory when her... Ah, welcome. I heard we had a visitor wandering about the village. I trust you've enjoyed your time in Haven so far?
Well, I found blood-stained altars and knives, and the people weren't very welcoming. They kind of attacked me a bunch. So enough pretending. This village is not normal.
This, my brothers, is what happens when you let an outsider into the village. They have no respect for our privacy. He will tell others of us if we let him. Word will spread, and then what? You, stranger, do not understand our ways. You would bring war to Haven in your ignorance.
What about Brother Genitivi? What have you done to him? I don't have to tell anyone. We could work something out.
We don't owe you any explanations for our actions. We have a sacred duty. Failure to protect her would be a greater sin. All will be forgiven.
Alrighty, and suddenly the whole town just disappeared. So, real quick speculation. He said protect her. Something tells me that they have something of Andraste's here. Perhaps it is indeed her... Oh, it's a brick wall. Perhaps it is indeed her ashes that are here, and that's why Brother Genitivi came here, and then they decided to attack him. No matter. This will be fun.
Enemies approaching. Fight for honor.
Where are you running to? Why are you running back here? Don't you understand you can't run from death? Death will find you. Death will hunt you down like a bloodhound searching for a convict in the woods. You will not escape death.
Well done.
As you say.
I also may have just recently finished watching Soul Eater, and death is kind of on the mind. Cultist Medallion. Interesting. So they are indeed cultists of Andraste. Ring of Faith. Small silver bar. No more of interest here? Any more books to click on to read? Nothing? No, this guy's got something. Acid Flask. But yeah, Soul Eater. Good anime. Interesting. I really liked the kind of story directive and everything of it. It was fun. Brother Genitivi. Is he dead or is he asleep? Oh, he's knocked out.
Who are you? They sent you to finish it.
Finish what?
Me. Finish me off.
No, I'm here to rescue you.
You don't know how glad I am to see someone who isn't from this village. The leg's not doing so well, and I can't feel my foot.
When? Can you help?
I can set the leg and ease some of the pain, but he'll need a lot of rest in order to heal.
I don't have time to rest now. I'm so close. The urn is just up that mountain.
I need to find the ashes. Arl gets sicker by the day.
The Arl is sick. Will he live?
The Arl was poisoned under Logain's orders.
Politics never did anyone any good.
No, sir.
The Arl is a noble soul. But the ashes will surely cure him. Haven lies in the shadow of the mountain that holds the urn. There is an old temple there built to protect it. The door is always locked, but I know what the key is. Eirik wears a medallion that opens the temple door. I've seen what he does with it.
This medallion?
Yes, that is your key. Take me to the mountainside and I will show you.
Yeah, answer some questions first.
All right. What is on your mind?
Do you know about the knights who were sent to look for you?
Yes, of course. How could I forget? Eirik said they were ambushed, some killed, a few brought back to Haven to be questioned. He was so self-righteous about it, so smug. He seemed pleased that he had tortured and murdered these men.
Eirik? Eirik's not going to be bothering anyone for a while.
Good. Eirik and his fellows were a blemish in the Maker's sight. If the Maker would even deign to look upon this world, that is. Let's just talk about something else now, shall we?
Let's. It's a little cold.
Well, it wasn't exactly what I expected it to be.
How did you find out about Haven? Can I ask all these? I want to ask all these.
I do not know. When the Chantry was established, it was decided that only female priests would ever be ordained. It is possible that the villagers, the disciples of Andraste, predate the Chantry and so have no knowledge of the Chantry's rules.
What do you know about Haven and its people?
They call themselves the disciples of Andraste. They are very, very devoted. One could say fanatically so. They must be here to protect the urn, but they speak of Andraste as though she was still alive.
I'm sorry? Is that possible?
I'm old enough to know that anything is possible, child. Was there something else you wanted to discuss?
What were the villagers doing with you?
They seemed intent on finding out personal information about me, where I grew up, things like that.
That's strange. Oh. They were probably planning to do that, indeed. They were going to put a fake one in dinner.
How do you know?
There was an imposter Waylon at your house.
An imposter? What happened to the real Waylon?
I found his body stuffed in a box. Okay, it wasn't stuffed in a box. It was laying on the ground, but he's dead.
Oh, poor Waylon. I should never have dragged you into this. Maker take you into his hands, my boy.
I'm sorry, brother. He died protecting your research.
He believed in me, even when I lost faith in myself. I will honor his memory. Was there something else you wanted to say?
I think you should return to Denerim, maybe. Do I want him to go to Denerim? Because what if there are more cultists? If he goes back, chances are he probably won't even make the trip by himself. I mean, he's got a broken leg. He's probably better off to come with me, especially with all his knowledge. Chances are this is going to get him killed, though.
Ah, good. Help me up here. I'll try not to slow us down.
Oh. This is going to be rough, I'm sure. Brother Genitivi is one of the Chantry's most well-known scholars, primarily on the basis of the stories he has published, which many of his contemporaries dismiss as fanciful, of his travels across the length and breadth of Thedas. His travels, rather curious nature, led him to study of folklore, which gave him a notion that he could track down the most debated of all artifacts, the Urn of Sacred Ashes. He announced that he had found what appears to be a trail of the urn, left in the legends of regions through which he has passed, from Minrathos on its way into hiding. And he appears to have been right. The final resting place of Andraste lay on the summit of a remote mountain. Brother Genitivi led you to the temple entrance and will now show you how Irik's medallion opens the door. Dude, you better not turn on me. You better not become crazy.
Here we are. Give me the medallion, and let's see if I remember. Yes, you see, it can be manipulated, just like this. And there. A key to open the way.
So how did you know to do that?
There are very few keys like this left in the world, but I have seen some. When you find the right combination, it just feels right. It is hard to explain. Now, let's see if we can open this door. There should be a place to insert this.
That's not ominous. Dude's got a butt strap.
Oh, what I would give to have seen this hall in all its splendor, as it was meant to be. Still, sweep away the ice and the snow, and traces of beauty remain.
You need to stay alert now, brother.
I'm sorry, what? I was a little distracted, I apologize. These carvings were created just after Andraste's death, and they may reveal things about her life that we do not yet know. I think I need more time to study these statues and carvings.
You want to stay here? Are you sure that's safe, dude?
I could not keep up with you with my injuries. I should be safe. I don't think there are any villagers here. Go, and I will be all right. Perhaps my destiny was only to lead you to the Anne.
Is there anything else I need to know?
It was designed to protect the Anne from those who would steal it, or do harm to it. Namely, the Teventer Imperium.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. What sort of dangers are you
I'm
talking
not sure.
about?
The legends were never very specific on that point.
Probably
the
rightly so.
Shall lay eyes on the sacred ashes. Death and misfortune await the unbeliever. The Maker's gaze has fallen on Andraste's final resting place. He weeps for his beloved, and his wrath at her betrayers endures.
So the Maker is here?
That is what the legend says, and the Maker may indeed watch this place. Read between the lines, however, and you'll understand that it is merely a simple truth draped in hyperbole and metaphor.
I certainly
After
hope
all,
you're
no
right.
one wants to hear Willie toiled for many a year to perfect the curious mechanisms that would send a sharpened spike up the arse of the unwary intruder.
Oh, that sounds pleasant.
I think my decision to stay here was the best one, don't you?
Fair enough. Try not to get in trouble.
I'll be right here if you need me. Now I need something to write on.
Don't let your feet freeze.
By the shifting skies of the Fade, this is magnificent.
It is large and pretty, and there is a book that I want to read. Andraste, Bride of the Maker. Wow, this is a long read. So there was once a tiny fishing village on the waking sea that was set upon by the Let's try this again. There was once a tiny fishing village on the waking sea that was set upon by the Teventer Imperium, which enslaved the villagers to be sold in the markets of Minrathos, leaving behind only the old and the infirm. One of the captives was the child Andraste. She was raised in slavery in a foreign land. She escaped, then made the long and treacherous journey back to her homeland alone. She rose from nothing to be the wife of an Alamari warlord. Each day she sang to the gods, asking them to help her people who remained slaves in Teventer. The false gods of the mountains and the winds did not answer her, but the true God did. The Maker spoke. He showed her all the works of his hands, the Fade, the world, and all the creatures therein. He showed her how men had forgotten him, lavishing devotion upon mute idols and demons, and how he had left them to their fate. But her voice had reached him, and so captivated him that he offered her a place at his side, that she might rule all of creation. But Andraste would not forsake her people. She begged the Maker to return, to save her children from the cruelty of the Imperium. Reluctantly, the Maker agreed to give man another chance. Andraste went back to her husband, Mafroth? And told him all that the Maker had revealed to her. Together they rallied the Alamari and marched forth against the mage lords of the Imperium, and the Maker was with them. The Maker's sword was creation itself, fire and flood, famine and earthquake. Everywhere they went, Andraste sang to the people of the Maker, and they heard her. The ranks of Andraste's followers grew until they were a vast tide washing over the Imperium, and when Mafroth saw that the people loved Andraste and not him, a worm grew within his heart, gnawing upon it. At last the armies of Andraste and Mafroth stood before the very gates of Minrathos, but Andraste was not with them, for Mafroth had schemed in secret to hand Andraste over to the Tevinter. For this, the Archon would give Mafroth all the lands to the south of the Waking Sea. And so, before all the armies of the Alamari and Tevinter, Andraste was tied to a stake and burned, while her earthly husband turned his armies aside and did nothing, for his heart had been devoured. But as he watched the pyre, the Archon softened. He took pity on Andraste and drew his sword, and granted her the mercy of a quick death. The Maker wept for his beloved, cursed Mafroth, cursed mankind for the betrayal, and turned once again from creation, taking only Andraste with him, and Our Lady sits still at his side where she still urges him to take pity on his children. Wow. That's heartbreaking. That's intense. So Andraste was chosen by the Maker himself. Convinced him to bless creation and mankind once more. And then she was betrayed by the very people that she loved. Tragic. Unbound. You asked, so I'm telling. Don't go. The stories talk of the riches, but never the names. Never where they supposedly spent their wealth. I heard the same tales as Aladdin Dinnerum, felt the same pool, but it's a lie, son. They may paint a trail, but once you're on it, does it lead to the beast or back to you? Unsigned letter, father to son. Interesting. I probably read that in all the different tones, all the wrong tones, and there are plenty of cultists too.
We must gain the advantage.
Taper. Okay, wonder why I have one of those. Ooh, discovering dragon's blood. Potions. Neat things. All the things. Alright, I feel better about clearing this place out now, just to help protect Brother Genitivi, because I really don't want him to die. Can I go back and tell him, hey, there are indeed cultists here, you should be aware.
You're back. Have you reached the urn? I am glad to see you are safe. Are there many of them?
Yes, will you be alright here?
I think so. I haven't seen sign of anyone. You must be keeping... If I hear anything strange, I'll be sure to hide.
Alright. I don't like this. You weren't standing there before. If. I just have this horrible sinking feeling that he's going to end up getting killed. Oh wow, this place is big.
As you say.
Key required. Okay.
Books. Oh, I would love to spend a day here.
There are indeed a lot of books, and look, a treasure chest with really crappy armor. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I'm not going to read this over, though I'm sure it's really neat. I'll probably look at it later. Scrolls of Benastor. Scroll pile. Ancient encrypted scrolls. Meaningless characters. Forgotten verses. Ooh, what's that? Find someone who can decipher the strange scrolls. You have taken them with you in hopes that someone would be able to translate them. You mean like Brother Genitivi? The old gods. Dumat, the dragon of silence. Zazakel, the dragon of chaos. Toth, the dragon of fire. Andoral, the dragon of... There's a dragon of slaves? Really? Arthemiel, the dragon of beauty. Razakal, the dragon of mystery. Lusikan, the dragon of night. Slaves, though? Really? There were 7 old gods, great winged dragons that were said to rule over the ancient world. The Chantry maintains that they are responsible for the original sin, but they turned humanity away from its true creator through deceit. Humanity's faith faltered, and thus the Maker turned away from the world, but not before trapping the old gods in eternal prisons beneath the earth as punishment. Scholars assume that the old gods must indeed have been real at one point, but most agree that they were likely actual dragons, ancient high dragons of a magnitude not known today, and impressive enough to frighten ancient peoples into worshipping them. Some even claim that these dragons slumber as a form of hibernation, not as a result of the Maker's wrath. Regardless of the truth, legend maintains that even from their underground prisons, the old gods were able to whisper into the minds of men. The Archon Thalcian, first of the Magisters, who claimed to have contacted the old god Dumat, used the blood magic Dumat taught to him to attain incredible power in Tevinter and declare himself the ruler of an empire. In return, he established the first temples worshipping the old gods. And the dragons became equated everywhere with imperial power. To date, 4 of the old gods are said to have risen as corrupted archdemons. Dumat, the first and most powerful, was slain at the Battle of Silent Fields. Zazakel fell at the Battle of Starkhaven. Toth died at the Battle of Hunterfell, and Andoral was felled by Garahel, the legendary Grey Warden, at the Battle of Islay. The archdemons have been identified only after years of argument among scholars, and to this day it is unclear whether the archdemons were truly old gods and not simply dragons. All that is known is that the Darkspawn hunt for them deep underground, and if they are truly the old gods, as many scholars believe, then we have only 3 blights remaining. When all the old gods have risen and been slain, however, what will happen? Will the blights end forever, and humanity earn forgiveness from the Maker at last? We shall see. So, it's possible Arthemiel, the Dragon of Beauty, is next? Because they went down the list. Yay, lore! More lore! So the old gods, the dragons, or potential old god dragon people, what up here?
None shall see me.
Are what caused the blight, and it makes you wonder how they end up causing the blight.
Wipe them out.
Enough!
Get him, Alistair.
No quarter to give it! As you say, for the fools, eh?
Now, having never played the Dragon Age games before, I really don't know much about the lore, but I've been trying to get into it more because it's got some really cool things in it.
I shall do
And
it.
dragons are just kind of awesome. So, that's always a thing. And there's more to attack. Darn it. I want to go back and talk to Brother Genitivi.
Feels too easy.
Can we be done? Are we good? Okay. Let's run back real quick.
Very well.
Because maybe he can decipher those scrolls. And I also kind of want to suggest to him that he go back to Denerim, and then I want him to tell me, no, it'll be okay. See, look, now he's over there. He moves.
You're back. Have you reached the urn? Oh, did you discover something fat? You're back.
Temple is big.
Over time, the temple has grown. Halls winding through the very rock from foot to summit, till the mountain itself became a celebration of Andraste and her life. Oh, I'd love to see it all, but I don't know if I ever will. It was designed to protect the urn from those who would steal it or do harm to it. Namely, I would hope not. And if the legends speak truly, you will never reach the urn. Only the faithful shall lay on. The Maker's gaze has fallen on Andraste's final resting place. He weeps. That is what the legend says. Read between the lines. After all, no one wants to hear, Willie toiled for many a year to perfect the cure. I think my decision to stay here was the best one, don't you? I'll be right.